The Dallas Cowboys coming off a tough loss. Up next, they head to Detroit to face the Lions.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Detroit without Matt Stafford. You know, he's dealing with a back injury. You don't know how long that could take. And Dak last week against the Vikings, almost throwing for 400 yards. It's going to be tough for the Lions, so I'm taking Dallas in this game.
Stafford out with that fractured back, 3 to 6 weeks. We'll just have to see. Jacksonville, coming off a bye week, heads to Indianapolis to face the Colts.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Jacksonville traveling to Indianapolis. I just don't see Indianapolis losing 3 in a row. It just doesn't seem like that can happen. Jacoby coming back, maybe, hopefully. We don't know if he's playing yet, but I would anticipate that the Colts get the job done at home against Jacksonville with Nick Foles. Is he back 100%? I don't know. He hasn't played all year.
That's right. Nick Foles will make his first start since breaking his collarbone early in the season. The Buffalo Bills will get a change in climate. They pack up and head south to face the Miami Dolphins.
It's going to be a little warm, a little bit different than Buffalo, but I think Buffalo gets the job done. I don't anticipate them going and losing 2 in a row. Last week, a tough fight against the Browns. I think they go down to Miami and they get the victory.
Well, Miami strung together back-to-back wins.
Maybe 3.
But maybe 3. We'll see. But
B-Flow. They're out to win every game.
Buffalo perhaps losing 2 tough back-to-back games.
Buffalo's defense is a great defense, so I'm going to go with Buffalo.
Okay. The Denver Broncos still contending with that revolving door at the quarterback position for all kind of reasons, not the least of which is an injury now to Joe Flacco. They face Minnesota.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot last week in Minnesota, traveling to Dallas. They win that football game, so I have to go with Minnesota. I think that they're playing really well. They have the best running game right now, so it'd be hard to go against the Vikings in Minnesota, so I'm going Minnesota all day.
It does feel like Kirk Cousins and that offense have sort of figured something
they're
out.
Clicking.
Yeah, they're clicking in a way we didn't see at the outset.
Unlike Denver.
Really a shocking loss for the New Orleans Saints next week. Up next, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, sometimes the bye week can actually cool off a team. I feel like they were on a roll, went through the bye week, and you would think that they'd come back and they'd be fresh and ready to go. And unfortunately, they lose at home against Atlanta, which was pretty shocking to everybody. So I think they get back to their winning ways. It'd be hard for me to see that offense, especially with Drew Brees, struggle 2 weeks in a row. And they're playing a Tampa team that's, what are they? They're not so great. So I think that the Saints get back to their winning ways and they win in Tampa.
You just don't see this team, this particular Saints team, at least I don't, losing back-to-back division games.
No, you don't see it. It's rare.
The New York Jets are headed to the nation's capital. Dwayne Haskins gets the start for the Redskins, as he will, by the way, for the remainder of the season, according to their interim head coach. Who you have in this one?
I'm going with the Jets. So Dwayne Haskins, he's starting. And as a defense, when you're going against a rookie who hasn't started all year, and now he's the guy, you have to be salivating to get after that young guy because you're going to be able to pressure him, make him throw you some interceptions. And I think with that, the Jets win. We saw last week that they kind of have a little something going, maybe a little bit on that offense. But we'll see, and we'll learn a lot more against the Washington Redskins, what the Jets have in them for the rest of this season.
Well, I think we still need to see sort of a litmus test for Sam Darnold. He was out with mono. He came back, and the results have been mixed. So this will be a good test for the young quarterback as well. The Atlanta Falcons won a game no one saw coming when they beat the Saints last week. The question now, can they do it again against the Carolina Panthers?
One word, McCaffrey.
As in Christian.
McCaffrey. So I think Carolina wins this football game. They're a better football team, and maybe Atlanta last week, they had a fire underneath them, and they were ready to go, and they wanted to beat the Saints. But it'd be hard for me to say that they're going to go to Carolina and beat the Panthers. I think that the combination of McCaffrey and the defense is going to be too tough for Atlanta.
Listen, Carolina went out to Green Bay, played in the snow last week, came up short against the Packers, but they had a chance. Very close, and their quarterback kept them in it. You have to think he can do the same thing against the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
One of the more marquee matchups of the week, no question. 2 dynamic, athletic quarterbacks, whatever you want to call playmakers. Let's call them playmakers.
Playmakers.
And that's Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. And this should be a great game, but who do you have?
It's going to be a huge game. Huge. I have Baltimore, so I think they're going to carry on this momentum. They're really playing at a great level right now. How can you go against a quarterback play? Jackson's playing tremendous. Hard to stop the run when you have your quarterback running like that. So I think Houston in this game is going to miss J.J. Watt. I think they're going to miss that aspect of their defense, And the Ravens are going to be able to take advantage of that with controlling the tempo of the game, running the football, and it might be a high-scoring game. Watch out. 2 quarterbacks can sling it.
Yeah, they can. Listen, I do agree they'll miss J.J. Watt, but you say how can you go against Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, because you got Deshaun Watson, the Texans. So
yeah, we're
going to have to agree to disagree.
We'll see, Wendy.
Up next for Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, the red-hot San Francisco 49ers defense, who I'm guessing are motivated after last week.
Oh, they're motivated.
Tired, but motivated.
I'm going with the 49ers. You know, we saw last week, tough game against Seattle, and it's going to be tough for Murray, a young quarterback, going against a great 49ers defense. I have to go with the 49ers. Their defense is just too good.
And their offense is holding their own.
Yes, they are. They need to catch the football, though.
They do. They've got to secure the football, but I think that makes sense.
No volleyball here.
It is proving to be a tough year to be a Bengals fan, and now Cincinnati, still winless, will play the Raiders.
Yep. And the Raiders, I'm going with the Raiders. I'm going to say a sentence. The Raiders are a better team, period. The Raiders are mentally a tougher team, period.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati is going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Cincinnati to win this football game, just based on the season that they've had so far, the injuries, offensive line play, the running game, benching your starting quarterback. I mean, the list goes on. So
you know, it's not always the better team that wins in the National Football League on any given Sunday, but in this case, it's just hard to see a situation where the Raiders can't finish this off.
Exactly.
There's not a single soul in New England who wants to call it a Super Bowl rematch, but in effect, that's what it is, simply because these two teams haven't played since Super Bowl 52, but New England travels to Philadelphia.
Super Bowl rematch, but Nick Foles is a Jacksonville Jaguar. He's not there. The Pats don't lose back-to-back games. It's a little difficult. I haven't seen that happen in a long time. And they just had a bye week. So I think that they'll be prepared. They'll be ready to travel, go to Philadelphia, business as usual, take care of business. And look, I think the Eagles right now, they're not the same caliber team they were when they won the Super Bowl. Different defense, different secondary. I mean, it's just going to be tough. Their pass rush isn't getting to the quarterback like they used to. So I think that the Patriots win this football game. They're going to run the football. They're going to be physically tough, and they go travel on the road, they win. Since
Bill Belichick took over in New England, this team has been lethal after a bye week. You just don't want to give him 2 weeks to prepare.
Nope.
I think it's fair to say there has been a regression of sorts for Mitchell Trubisky. Certainly he hasn't moved forward at the very least. And now the Chicago Bears face the Rams.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Rams here. I know, people from back home in the Chicago area are going to say, Rob, what about the Bears? I'm telling you, I'm not a believer in Trubisky. Last week against the Lions, they didn't have Matt Stafford. That score would have been a lot different if they had a starting quarterback, the Lions, last week playing the Bears. So I'm going with LA here. The Rams, I think their defense will get after Trubisky. They'll make him uncomfortable, and he'll probably throw a few interceptions.
Well, I said there's been some regression for Trubisky. You could argue the same thing for this Rams offense, but that defense, I think, to your point, is where we could really see a critical factor in this one and probably propel the Rams to the win.
Yep, definitely.
Patrick Mahomes played last week, his first game since dislocating his kneecap. He looked okay. He looked good, actually, even though this team came up short. Now they travel to Mexico City. It's a Monday night football game against the Chargers.
Yeah, it's hard to go bet against Kansas City with that offense and how potent they are. I would like to see the defense step up and special teams. Last week we saw a couple of bad plays on the special teams unit for Kansas City. It's a 3-phase game, and they only won 1 phase last week. So if they can get the job done in all 3 phases, they'll win this football game. I know the Chargers have been playing better, but I don't think they're at the caliber or the level of Kansas City when they are firing on all cylinders.
Well, that's the problem, though. The Chiefs have played a number of games where the offense was the only
thing working for them.
Only thing working, and it's just so good they've been able to overcome. But eventually, long-term and deep into the postseason, that'll be a problem.
Yes, it will.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+. We'll see you there.